I think if I were in the CIA and I had access to Google, which I imagine they do, I could say, I need 25 people in Texas who are unstable, really don't like Donald Trump, have a gun, good shot, whatever I needed, and develop a profile and say, give me a list of those people. I could probably have that in a couple of minutes. And then I could say, now, let's turn them into killers. Manchurian stuff, but you don't need to bring them to Russia. They won't even know that they've been turned. You know, we're kind of in this place where soon free will could be a thing of the past, where you don't know if you made the decision or you were turned, right?
Or at least nudged in one direction.
Yes, right.
Yeah, this whole problem. Well, after 9/11, the advertising companies, which were collecting a lot of data to sell advertising, started looking for needles in a stack of needles to try to find other people of the same profile of the 19 that crashed into the World Trade Center. And that grew to it started an insatiable appetite of government for data.
Yeah.
And then when you combine that with smartphones, which actively collect off of every app sitting on the phone to export that user data, it's where we are today. It's really created an industry called surveillance capitalism.
Yeah, and it's terrifying because they know it. They know you better than you know yourself.
Your phone knows what you're going to do before it even clicks in your brain. Your phone knows what you're about to click. It'll pause a thing in the right place, but your phone is anticipating what you're going to do before it even registers in your head.
5 years ago, I was walking down the street in Los Angeles, and we were talking as a group. We're walking down the street, and I don't know how this came up, but I said, who was the king of Sweden back in like 43 or 39? Who was that? And we were going back and forth, and guy takes his phone out, and he goes to Google, and he put W, and it came up. Who was the king of Sweden in 1938 or whatever? Yeah. And we just stood around going,
because the microphone's listening.
Oh my gosh, that is terrifying.
And all the companies deny that it's listening.
Right.
But it's like it has just come out. Like there was an article a few months ago, and somebody was selling. Like, we can provide you data to what the conversations are happening in rooms that you're not in. And it was up for about a week.
Your phone sitting on your nightstand, listening to pillow talk with your spouse.
I know.
Whoa.
I know. I think, honestly, I've never been a fan of the Third Amendment of the Bill of Rights. I'm like, okay, we're not going to quarter soldiers. They're quartering soldiers in our homes through this. The point of that was the king can't send somebody into the home to go through your papers, go through your information, listen to your conversations to try to find something on you. That's what this is.
And it is worse than that, because just a few months ago, Congress passed the FISA. It wasn't just a reauthorization, it was a massive expansion, right? FISA is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. But now, big Washington expanded that so that any of this commercial data, which belongs to the apps or the other phones, the other phone handset guys, any federal agent can demand that information on Glenn Beck with no warrant and not even with probable cause. So lets them do a full digital fishing expedition on a mere whim. That is worse than Orwell. It's worse than George Orwell could even imagine.
I remember 2003, somebody came into my office, and, you know, this is, I was against FISA. I was for FISA until, like, for a week. And then I'm like, wait, I think this is a real problem. And I remember somebody coming in and saying, look at the technology that we have. In a good way, they were saying, look how we can find terrorists. And they had, if they knew these people are terrorists in this house, they also knew all of their contacts and where their contacts and allies lived. If their power usage went down, it automatically checked for their friends to see if the power usage or the water usage had gone up. It also checked trains, airplanes, every way of traveling to see where that person went. That's like 2003 or 4.
It was, yeah. I worked for an agency called DARPA. a couple of times, and I was there in 2003 to 2006, and I remember some of the programs there. And look, I was a uniform wearing Marine at the time. We were still reeling from 9/11. And I thought, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. There are all these novel data sources, and if you put enough data sources together, you can find some real insight. The issue has become, we don't have to put them together anymore. Like, we carry them with us all the time. Everywhere we go, every movement that we make. And it's not just Apple and Google, right? Every application on your phone, they're collecting data on you. The applications have trackers built into them. Every advertisement that is delivered to your computer, phone, tablet has trackers in it, and they track everything, screen size.
Because the
like
Google and Apple phone are built to interact with those apps, to harvest and extract that data, to know where you go, what you buy, who you call, what you browse. That's why we did the unplugged phone, because it's the antithesis of that. Because it's our hardware, our operating system, which prevents those apps from putting their hooks in and exporting any of that data. It's the only antidote to that kind of pervasive big brother, big government, big tech surveillance.
Yeah. So this is for public-private partnerships. You're worried about private companies getting your information and that information going to either them in the way they want to use it or colluding with the government. But the government could hack into pretty much anything, can't they?
They're pretty strong. There's lots of pathways
Says
in.
the guy from DARPA.
So the thing about this is the government doesn't have to collude with Apple or Google.
They can just get it.
Yeah, this is now right. All of this infrastructure was put in order to sell advertisements, more targeted, better advertisements to get a better click-through rate of what you do. Like, I want to deliver the ad on your phone, Glenn, that I know you'll click in action. And so that's what all of this data collection has been about. It's about selling advertisements. And so now all of that data is sitting out there in about 5 or 6 different brokers for purchase. And we know from
not much, like $1,000 in a credit card.
You can, I mean, the things that you can do. I did it on my own company headquarters, and we wanted to see like how precise can we get. And we had a small office in a rural town in Virginia. It was in a historic home. We drew a little box around it, and we said, collect all the advertising IDs that come in and out of this office more than 3 times in 1 week. And we're like, yeah, those are probably the employees. Like our customers don't come by all that often. And then we said, okay, let's see where those phones have been for the last 90 days. Now let's follow those advertising IDs for the next 90 days. And you could find me, my VP, my CTO, everybody in the company. You could figure out exactly who we were if you knew one other piece of information about us.
So I saw something, I think it was from you guys, that you were tracking some corporate people, and somebody you were tracking used to pick up their grandkids from school. Is this you guys? Grandkids from school, and then take them to school occasionally. And you could see to the minute where they were every day. And if you have that information.
Looking back 5 years.
Looking back.
Yeah.
And so you know where the children.
Down to even telling which side of the bed in the house they sleep on.
That's crazy.
That phone, the
Doesn't
unplugged phone, prevents that.
Yeah.